the new guy at Auburn, Hank Brown. I said last night on Dunaway After Dark on Sunday night, am I the only guy that's tapping brakes here and not hitting the gas pedal on Hank Brown? Am I the slow play guy here?
I mean, I don't know how much we know. I don't think Peyton Thorne would have done anything differently.
I don't think so either.
Well, look, Hank Brown, every pass that was caught by an Auburn uniform.
That's a good start.
So that was an improvement over the week before, right? But with Hank Brown, I mean, I think you've got to understand that's as easy as it'll ever be for him again. New Mexico, I mean, they play La Monroe. If he's the starter for the rest of the year, there's a chance La Monroe's worse than New Mexico. I don't really know who would play if La Monroe and New Mexico met today on a neutral site.
Probably New Mexico's favorite, but yeah.
To your
not
point,
a game I'm watching.
To your point, DJ Lagway looked really good against Sanford.
That's right. And you put him against an SEC defense at home. What happened there? I was wrong about that, Jim. I'll go and take that one.
I don't think that one matters.
Yeah. But Hank Brown, I mean, it's about to step up a little bit with Arkansas. Then it'll step up even more with Oklahoma. And then it's Chinese arithmetic with Georgia. I mean, it is going to get real for him quickly, and we'll see how. That's how you'll know if this is the right move. That's the only way you'll find that out.
Yeah, look, I think he's got a lot of confidence coming out of that game. I mean, receivers were running wide open, made a couple of good throws, didn't make any mistakes.
What was it, a 50-yarder to count?
That was a gorgeous throw, man.
Keandre Lambert-Smith, and that was perfect.
That was a gorgeous throw.
Look, he's got an arm. And we didn't get to see him play with Cam Coleman.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's something you do have to factor in. And in the first half, he was better in the second half. In the first half, Auburn couldn't run the ball, which was super puzzling because everybody runs it on New Mexico State. They were giving up almost 8 yards a run coming into that game. So he was doing what he was doing in the first half without any run support, which for a young quarterback, that's a lot to ask is, you can't run the ball, so go out there and be good at quarterback.
Well, I here's the thing. So the big question coming out of California was, how bad is this offense? What are they going to do at quarterback? Now, coming out of New Mexico, and I know adjustments were made in the second half, but the first half, that defense struggled.
Yeah, there seemed to be like this, I'll call it a black hole in the middle of their defense where they could find an open receiver all night long.
I don't know why they weren't throwing more to the middle of the field. The middle of the field was wide open.
Yeah. It was crazy how
and those
coverages was.
Long white receivers had to make weird adjustments because Dampierre was so off on some of his throws.
Yeah, he's a ball. I mean, I like Dampierre. That's a tough kid, man. He just runs and throws. I would say this, watching the first half, Hank Brown was far from your concern if you're an Auburn fan. If you just watched the first half of that game and turned it off and you got no clue what else happened, you watch it and you're like, quarterback is the least of my worries right now. My team can't run the ball, and they can't stop New Mexico. New Mexico's doing anything they want on offense. That was the first half. It obviously got better in the second half, but you're watching that game to see what Hank Brown did, and you were like, my gosh, Hank Brown is far from the issue right now in the first half.
Let's get a couple of reactions from Hugh Freeze after the game, 4-5 Rockstar, from Auburn's head coach, who, it had to be a tough decision for him to pull Peyton Thorne, and then as you go through the quarterbacks, you don't want to embarrass Peyton. He sits there over the bench. I just wonder, we'll ask Peyton about this, where his head is and what the conversation is moving forward. Peyton on the show tomorrow at 9:30 Central Time. He'll join us. Right now is QB2 because Hugh Freeze afterwards about the decision he made at quarterback.
I made the decision, and, again, I've stood with Peyton and still believe that he's a good football player. I decided Monday after watching the film, I just didn't tell them until Thursday. I just felt like we left so many plays out there, winning football plays that could win a game for us, and I couldn't put my finger on why, because I know he has the understanding of it, and I just felt like this is what was best for our team. And I don't know if it's, if he keeps playing well, it'll be a permanent fix, and if not, maybe it wakes everybody else up that spurs them to be better prepared and make better decisions.
Okay, so right there he says if Hank continues to play well, it's him, but if he doesn't, there may be another chance for Peyton to be QB1 again.
Now, I do think we probably see Peyton at some time getting another start, just because I don't know how good this Auburn team is. I feel like I was wrong on thinking they were going to be more improved than they were. I'm sure you guys got some texts like this over the weekend. I am surprised they're not 3-0, but Cal is a really good team.
I think Cal is a good team.
Yeah, Cal is a good team.
I think Cal's a 9-3, 10-2 type ACC
Still
team.
a game Auburn should have won.
Yes.
Did you guys get some of these texts, though? I said it then, I'll say it again. Hugh Freeze, terrible hire. Will never create a complete team, nor will he ever have a team fully prepared to play quality football.
That's an Auburn fan?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I got one of those.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't get a whole lot of Hugh Freeze hate over the weekend.
But in fairness, the one guy who tells me this, he told me from the day he was hired all the way through.
Well, and this guy, I think, said the same thing. I disagree. I think Hugh is a really good coach. The problem is the SEC is this deep. I thought it was a little disturbing when we did hear that Auburn had kind of moved all their chips in on year 3 instead of year 2. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I mean, we did kind of hear this in Dallas, right?
Yeah, it was Brandon Marcello that said it. Yeah. And the actions have kind of supported what Brandon said.
It really has. That's what I was going to point out.
Yeah.
Like, I found it hard to believe when I hear it, and then you watch this product, and I know it's not a finished product yet. And look, I mean, bottom line is they did get the win, and they looked a lot better in the second half. Still, they're about to roll into a really difficult schedule.
Really. To wrap up this 5-game homestand, where they're 2-1 right now, you get Arkansas and Oklahoma. Arkansas's an upgrade in defense from what you saw last week, and then Oklahoma's a really good defense. They may not look like it this week when Tennessee comes to town, but the Sooners are good when they head to Jordan-Hare Stadium. On Hank Brown's performance, our Emily Grace McWhorter at the game, asking Hugh afterwards about his takeaway on Hank.
Coach, what stuck out to you about Hank's performance, and where do you want to see some improvement going forward?
I thought he was solid. The rain bothered him a little bit. It bothered all of us, I think, right before half. He had a couple of incompletions that were iffy with that. But other than that, he missed a few throwing in the blitzes that I'd like to see him get. But that comes probably with experience. But I thought it was a very solid night. Decision-making was pretty good, other than I think there's 2 throws that kind of stand out in my mind that were that I wish he would have thrown into blitzes. But I thought he got us into the right checks early in the game, and it was good to see him take the RPOs when he had them, and I thought he had a solid first game.
Quick and accurate. Quick decisions, accurate throws most of the time.
There were a couple shaky throws earlier. There were a couple that against better defenses might have been picked. There was one that I think you texted me right away, and I agree with you. Then on the goal, it's a pick 6 probably against an SEC team. But that's his first start. I mean, you're going to do those things in your first start. And as the game went, he seemed much more comfortable.
Well, and I tell you what will make him much more comfortable if Auburn, the finished product, can have 270 or 268 rushing yards, and average almost 7 yards a carry. I don't think that's going to happen. I know you said in the first half they struggled a little bit running the football.
They absolutely struggled running the football in the first half.
But if they can run the football in the second half like they did,
that is correct. Yeah,
that was the one thing that was missing in the loss to Cal. I think they didn't lean on Jarquez maybe enough. Maybe they couldn't against that Cal defense.